So if you have been to my channel before, you will notice that there's something different. Hi, my name is Julieta and I live in my Prius. So I've changed my car setup a couple of times. And I'm gonna talk to you about this new one, this new setup that I've just switched again in my next vlog, because it's not 100% ready, and I want to show it to you when it's like done and pretty. I basically changed seats and I didn't think it was going to work, but I had a few comments of people asking me why I didn't do this new setup, and I was hesitant. I kind of dismissed them because I didn't really think it was going to work. But you know, the seed was planted, so I had to try it. But again, next time. So today I'm gonna take you with me to buy some yerba mate to a little Argentinian market. Then I wanted to give you an update on my ICECO fridge and tell you how I'm feeling about it. I also wanted to, because some people ask me to be a little bit more clear about how I have my power set it up. So I'm gonna talk to you about that because I also got solar and I'm very happy about it. But before we get into that, if you're a subscriber, welcome back, and if you're new here, this is me. Hi, my name is Julieta and I live in my car. I am an aspiring nomad artist and my dream is to travel the world doing plein air and making art in a studio van. So I'm trying to get out of debt and save some money by living in my car. So if you are interested to see if I can make this dream happen, subscribe to my channel. Okay, so I did cancel my Panera membership. If you don't know, if you're new here, I have this Panera membership that you paid like $15 a month and you have unlimited sip. So you can have a coffee every day or even more than one. So it's absolutely worth it. And if you're stationary and you live close to a few Paneras, then it's great. Or I'm gonna start going back to my yerba mate. So I'm gonna get a little bit of caffeine every day again. I don't really have much use to the Panera membership. Another reason that I was using it because it was nice to have an option to the library for the times that the library wasn't, it's not open. You can power all of your devices and you can sit in a nice place with booth and Wi-Fi. But I realized that I barely use it for that. Only like on Sunday mornings because the library opens late. But then I realized I should do something different on Sunday mornings, because that's my point, right? I can do hikes, I can go to a different coffee shop and explore a little bit. So yeah, I'm not gonna be using Panera anymore, but the membership is still active until I think next week. So I'm gonna go get some coffee right now. So I'm gonna sit for a minute and wait for the rush hour to be over, because I'm going in a direction that there's a lot of traffic right now. So I'm gonna be working a little bit on my computer. Okay. I'm trying my new mic and I hope it works. So doing this, like not going to the library and driving away from my comfort zone and doing something different makes me so happy. And I think that because of the job that I do, it's very computer based, and with my iPad, sitting down at the library or at any place that I can get, I can put my thoughts together. I feel like I'm grounded. I can look at my organizer and figure out what it is that I have to do, and that's why it kind of is soothing for my brain to go and do my routine. But it's so unfulfilling right now, and I want to do more of this. And I've done it and in my last video I actually did it. I went for a hike, but I want more anyway. This market is going to be open in like 10 minutes, so I'm going to get there in 20, so we're good. Looking at all these products bring me back home, straight to my childhood. I can't help but miss my family and my people. But funny enough, when I am home, the same thing happens. Seeing familiar American products in Argentina pulls me back to the US, and suddenly I'm missing the feel of an American grocery store. It's like being torn between two worlds, never quite at home in either, but always carrying a piece of both. Okay, I always forget that I have this camera, so I'm gonna be talking to this camera and see if it works. I'm gonna go and grab something to eat, and I'm gonna sit in my new seat, and I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about my fridge and also about my power system. Let's go. I'm gonna go to Aldi because they have the egg white wraps, and I wanna make my ground beef with some avocado and make some like wraps. Since I got my fridge, it's way more fun to come to the grocery store because I can think of meals that I can have instead of just thinking of something that it's small but not too expensive that I have to eat the same day before it goes bad. I got this little shelf that I'm gonna be using inside my fridge because it's gonna make reaching for things much easier for me. At one point I did wonder if it was worth it to have a fridge, and after what, 6, 7, 8 weeks of having my ICECO, it's absolutely worth it. I did thought that maybe this was a little bit too big for me, but then I realized that if the fridge is smaller, so is the inside of the fridge, and because sometimes you get good deals with meat and you need a place to store it, right? So we're gonna have again some ground beef, like some sort of ground beef tacos, and maybe one egg. Yes, let's prepare the area a little bit better. Oh, I got this sauerkraut. It's good for the microbiome. I'm animal based, I'm not 100% carnivore, so yeah, I just realized that I need a little bit of something. Anyway, I'm gonna be using this one to cook. One of the reasons it's worth it because I always wanted to have like this type of thing. I wanted to eat like what I'm gonna be eating today and have some sauerkraut and have all of that stuff. So yeah, you need a fridge if you want to start, having better and healthier meals. And that's the one thing that I couldn't really do when I was just buying food every single day. And oh, by the way, having solar, which is basically, I'm always have enough power to actually power the fridge. I run it through the power station. I don't just connect the solar straight to the fridge because it's not reliable. So from the back, you cannot even tell that there's sorry, I'm covering my license plate, that there's like a solar panel. Of course, that when you come to the front, ugh, I have to do something about that. I don't know what, but have to fix it. This ICECO draw around between 25 and 30 watts, so that's amazing. With a 100 watt solar is more than enough when it's sunny, right? As you can see, there's a cloudy day today, but obviously right now 13 is not enough. It's drawing around 28, but it's usually when there's sun, there is like between 70 and 100, so it's more than enough. So yeah, I'm very happy about my decision to get solar. Anyway, I'm absolutely in love with my fridge, ICECO, and I'm gonna give you a rundown of the spec. This is the ICECO dual zone portable fridge and freezer and fridge in one. And yes, the zones are interchangeable. It's equipped with a premium nano compressor, the smallest and most efficient in the ICECO lineup. It's imported from Germany and backed by a 5-year warranty. It's compact, lightweight, just 32 pounds, and built with sleek, corrosion-resistant aluminum. You can even control it from your phone with the ICECO app. And if you're interested, I have a special link for 12% off. Check the description below. Having this fridge and having solar, it's making me way more comfortable with the idea of starting, traveling and camping. I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself in every video because I'm not there yet, but I'm constantly fantasizing about actually doing it. And I don't know, I can't do it right now. I need to be much better when it comes to my dad. Sorry about being so repetitive. Anyway, but now I can imagine myself doing this in a place that I'm not familiar with. Now, before, when I had nothing, I couldn't picture myself doing it. I remember that I watched, remember when I started living in my car, I was watching this Bob Wells. Bob Wells has a class on Skillshare. I'm not sponsored by Skillshare, but he does, from cheap RV living. He does have a class that is very interesting. And I remember watching the class sitting in my car when I was a little bit, and back then when I was not feeling great for some reason. And I remember he was talking about being a nomad and the things that you need to do to becoming a nomad, and I felt so far removed from that idea. And now when I think about it, I feel a lot closer. And yeah, it's interesting because I want to have more time to make videos so I can make a little bit more money from YouTube, so I'm able to start traveling more. But at the same time, I need to stay for Target, so I don't have time to make more videos. I don't know, it's a kind of a catch-22, but I will figure it out. All right, let's prepare the fajitas. I don't know, tacos. Egg tacos is not the same. So I'm gonna eat my tacos, fajitas, whatever, and then I'm gonna talk to you about my battery system, okay? Right, here we go. It's pretty great. It's a little bit bland because it's healthy, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I wanted to tell you guys that one of the reasons that I switched the seats is because of this. It's so much more comfortable to cook this way, and I have so much more space. But anyway, I don't want to give you more details because the next video is going to be a little bit more detail on my car, on my thoughts about how am I going to go start traveling and camping, and how am I going to actually start adding my painting into my videos. So I'm working on that. And again, I'm so sorry that I've been taking so long to actually becoming a nomad. And I'm not saying I'm sorry because I know that, you know, it takes what it's gonna take, but I do feel sometimes that my videos are like a little bit stuck. But there's not much I can do because I still have my debt. I could work a lot more than what I'm working at Target, but again, I wouldn't have time to do any video and take any of my classes. So I rather do it this way. And yeah, it might take a little bit longer, but it's fine, right? I'm gonna make another one because I have some meat left and a little bit of avocado left. So yeah, when it comes to power, I remember how overwhelming it was when I was picturing how my life would be living in my car and looking at a power station, looking at videos, looking at different systems to how to power the power station. And honestly, until you start doing it, you don't really know 100% what you're gonna need. At the same time, it's an investment that you're gonna be doing. It's not something that you can just, oh, I'll figure it out. I'll buy a bunch of stuff and then I'll figure it out. You kind of want to know. You don't want to, waste your money. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna take up crocheting that you just spend like what, $50 on stuff to start figuring out what you want to do. This, involves money, a lot of money. So I'm gonna explain to you what I do right now and according to my needs. And I'm going to try to be as basic as possible. I'm not an expert, but I want to explain in a way that I wish someone would have explained it to me. Okay, someone asked me, why do I have an inverter? Because the power station, the Bluetti, already has an inverter. And one of the reasons is because I do have a hybrid, which makes things a little bit different. Not too much, but a little bit different. But let's put a pin on that. So you want to live in your car, in a vehicle, right? And you want to have power because you want to be able to plug in things and not just USB or USB-C. You want to be able to plug in like the regular AC outlet that you have at home, right? So how do you do that? So your car has USB-C probably from your cigarette lighter, but does not have AC power because the power that you can get from your car is DC. So you have to transform that DC to AC. That's the one with this plug-in, right? Okay. How do you convert DC to AC? There's like little converters that you can plug into your cigarette lighter, but they go up to like 300 watts. So you won't be able to actually, plug in a kettle or something that has higher watts. That's probably the thing that you're going to need to plug in, like an air fryer, like one of the little grills that I have, this little hot pot, a skillet. You won't be able to use this inverters. You need a bigger one, like 1500 watts. But those you cannot plug them into the cigarette lighter. You're gonna need to hook them up into your 12-volt battery from your car, your starter battery. You convert your power from DC to AC. But the problem is that you're going to have to have your car running all the time to be able to use the outlets that are in, because these inverters come with AC outlets. You're going to be able to plug in something and, a kettle. But the reality is that you don't want to have your car on all the time, right? And these inverters, they don't store energy for later use because these are not battery. They don't have a battery inside. Also, if you want to have a fridge, you need continuous power. So if you leave to go to the market, or you leave to go to a hike or to the library, you need power. You need to power the fridge. So, okay, and what do? You get a power station that stores power. But how do you charge it? Okay, from the wall. Of course, if you're going to be traveling and you're going to be boondocking, you're not going to have access to the grid, to a regular wall. Like, you have to go to town and get into a library or a Starbucks or something like that. Another option, solar panels. That's great, but they're not 100% reliable because of the weather, and sometimes they're too big and you don't know where to put them. Some people don't want to deal with solar. I think it's a great option, but again, it's not 100% reliable. And the other option, again, is from your car. Now, you still need to convert DC to AC because you still want to plug in your kettle, right? So these power stations, they come with a built-in inverter. So you don't need the big inverter from before, but still you need to charge the battery. So how can you do that? They come with this. You can just plug in to your cigarette lighter. The problem is that it takes too long because there's no much wattage coming from here. It's like 100. And so if you travel a lot every single day, maybe you're going to get away with it. You don't need anything else. But if you are a little bit more stationary, you're going to need a fast charger. Now, you can still use the inverter the way I'm doing it. So I have the inverter hooked up to the started battery, and I have my battery, my power station, plug in into the inverter through the AC outlets. So it's like a double conversion, and it works for me, especially because, again, I have a hybrid, so I don't have to have my car running all the time to charge my power station. But it's not the most efficient one. The best way to do it is to use a DC to DC. There's this charger called Charger One from Bluetti that does exactly that. You hook it up to your 12V battery the same way I did with my inverter, and that goes straight into the power station, and it charges while you're driving. Again, you need to be driving. Your car has to be on. I don't know if it works very well when you're idling. I think that it works better when you're driving. But this is the best way to charge your battery in a fast way, right? Now, I think the ideal is to have a combination between solar and the fast charger, right? So the reason I have the inverter is because, number one, it's cheaper. It cost me $100, and the chargers, the DC to DC chargers, are a little bit more expensive. Also, the fact that I have a Prius, if my battery is dead, for example, if my Bluetti is just gone, I can still use the outlets from the inverter. I have to have my car on ready, but I don't have to have my car running all the time, as I mentioned before, right? So it's a good option. And basically, when I start doing some research, everybody who had a Prius were using the inverter. Nobody was using the DC to DC from Bluetti. I don't know if because it's kind of a newer thing, or maybe because it doesn't work with hybrids. I'm not sure. If you know anybody who has anything to say about this, please comment below. Just be nice about it. That's all. So basically, that's the reason I chose the inverter, because I felt like it's a good way to have 100%. It's a good way to have power all the time, right? Even if my Bluetti doesn't work or it's just drained for some reason, but I still needed to have like a power station because of my fridge, and the reason that I added the solar is because I am stationary and I'm staying in a city, and I go to work and I go to the library, and my car is sitting alone in the parking lot for a bunch of hours, that having a small solar made a lot of sense, because by the time I come back from whatever I am, my battery is still full on a sunny day, of course, right? And if I have to charge it, I fast because I have to go to bed and it's already 9 p.m. and I want to go to sleep, and my battery is at, I don't know, on a cloudy day, it's at 30%, I can drive around and I can have a fast charge and make sure that my fridge has power all night long. So conclusion, how do you have power? The idea of a standalone inverter, like some people, like I think truckers do this, they might not need a battery because they're driving all the time, and all they have to do is just turn on the truck and they use the inverter and that's it. But that's not very realistic, and you also have to have a hybrid to make a little bit more sense. So that's not an option now. So how do you charge your power station? Again, from the wall in a library. Solar, the cigarette lighter, you can plug it in and charge it while you're driving. The problem is that it's too slow. And the other option is by using a DC to DC charger that you can hook up to your started battery straight into your power station. Again, you can also use the inverter if you want to, right? You can just hook it up to your starter battery straight. I'm doing this because my starter battery is in the back, but yours is going to be probably in the front. So you just charge from your 12 volt battery from your car into your power station. So that's it. This is the most basic and clear way that I can explain this to you. So if you have any questions, there's going to be other subscribers that are going to be able to answer all those questions that I cannot answer. But that's how I understand it, and that's what I'm doing with my power. I'm using the inverter and I'm using the solar. And eventually, when I move into a van, I'm probably going to go with the DC to DC charger and some solar. I think that's what I'm going to be doing. Lifestyle is going to have a massive effect on what works for you. So are you going to be stationary? Are you going to be traveling a lot? Are you going to be boondocking? Are you going to be going to little town and visiting libraries? It depends. Maybe a mix of everything. So that's going to affect your decision. And you may want to even try to do this without power at first, without any battery, and realize what your needs are. Or maybe a small power station with the cigarette lighter, and then you're going to realize, oh, yeah, I need a faster charger, or actually, I don't need it. I don't even need solar. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of a trial and error. So you might want to buy things from Amazon so you can return them if they don't work for you. For example, I got my Bluetti and it was on, I think it was Prime Day. So I got it for very cheap. So this is Editing Julieta. I forgot to mention that I do recommend to get a power station that it's about 1,000 watts or at least 800 watts, because most low wattage appliances are between 600 and 750. So I would go for a 1,000 watts to be safe. And it's not the best. I wish this would have been available because it's a bigger battery and I think it's smaller in size. But you know, that's always going to happen because technology is always evolving. So you're going to have to buy something at one point. So I hope this helped. I don't know if I was very clear. I apologize if I wasn't. Anyway, I don't have an update from my dad because it's been just 2 weeks. And if you want to help my channel, you can buy me a coffee. I have a store where you can buy merch. But the best thing you can do is just comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you in the next one.